Hello, my name is Mikiko Kurose from University of Nottingham in the United Kingdom. When I was brainstorming whether our assessments reflect what we teach in the classroom, I realized that there are various ways of calling how to gauge students' ability or progress. Each term could mean something different, but in terms of gauging students' ability or progress, they are similar in some ways. And also, these different forms of checking students' knowledge, it can be summative or formative, and these can be done in classroom as well. Liz Hamp-Lyons quotes that assessment is to help students learn and to gauge students' progress. And it implies the assessment has a different purpose than just testing students' ability or knowledge, but it should help students learn and progress. But if we look at examination, then the format of exam might be changed from oral to written. It refers more to a specific context and a purpose. In our institution, the term assessments and exams are used more for the end of the semester exam so that students will be awarded with a number of credits or classification to pass their modules or course in order to graduate. In this presentation, I would like to bear in mind what assessments mean in terms of gauging students' knowledge and progress from teaching and learning point of view. We assess students in a number of occasions using various types of assessment. In class, we gauge students' understanding by checking performance, may give formative assessment such as vocab test, or may give summative assessment in class. Within the formative assessment, we may gauge students' progress through various tests, quizzes, homework, presentations, and give feedback for further progress. Then, at the end of the semester or at the end of the course, we give students summative assessment to prove students have reached a certain level. This can be in the form of oral exam, written exam, or can be combined exam such as listening and writing exam. When we write or design assessments, we may need to be aware of different types of assessment. For example, if we need to review what learners know and assess what learners find it difficult, we may need to give a diagnostic type of assessment, but perhaps in the form of a placement test or a progress test to assess learners' knowledge and identifying where their knowledge may lack. Or we assess students to find out what students already know, so that students can learn unfamiliar topics or elements through teaching. By finding out where the zone of proximal development is, teachers can pitch lessons in appropriate level for students in class. So we may assess where students' zone of proximal development is through classroom performance or give them certain type of assessment. Another type of assessment is an ipsative assessment to measure the performance of students against previous performance of the student themselves, not comparing against other students. It measures own progress, so this could be a motivation of learning. Students can rewrite essays to improve after learning new grammar points and assessing students' progress again, for example. The criterion referenced assessment may be the one often used in summative exams against a learning outcome. Or maybe the summative assessment can be the hypnotic assessment to use students' knowledge to perform what they can do by combining knowledge and skills to tackle exam questions, such as watching a video and discuss in the group, or read a text and write an email or letter to inquire specific information. By using different types of assessment, we may be able to assess students more effectively. We are constantly assessing students consciously or unconsciously. Assessment is probably our second nature. We don't assess students to fail them, but assess students so that we know that they are in the right level, check their understanding and progress, But perhaps the most visible assessment from students' point of view is the end of semester exams to measure their achievement against their learning outcome. Assessment should fit for the purpose, but I wonder if my assessments are appropriate or not. They should be, but I feel it may be out of my control since the format or style of exams are already designed by the institution, which I will share later on. Also, in the class, it is a more communicative approach to give more focus in speaking, and I rarely do reading comprehension or asking students to write an essay in class. Of course, I set them as a homework, but not practiced enough in class. And also, I am not going to lie, but I forget the creativity of the exam because I need to meet the deadline of the draft exam papers in the middle of the semester when I'm also busy with teaching. So I may not be creative or design the assessment with various types of questioning when writing 3 exams. When I was researching, I came across with the assessment cycle to keep it in mind to what I want students to achieve against the learning outcome and plan and design assessments and deliver lessons. However, as I mentioned, certain formats of the exams are already designed, so it is beyond my control. So more likely there is the assessment and I plan and design lesson to deliver. Lessons are more communicative, so it will create a certain discrepancy between assessment and what is happening in class. After the assessment, I do review results and make necessary changes in terms of difficulty or questions, but not the actual style of the exam. I feel some of our assessments are very traditional and outmoded. But if I'm assessing students, I would like assessment to be more learning and progress related, and I would like to give a sense of achievement and confidence so that the assessment becomes more meaningful. If I want to give more meaning to the assessment, I should be bearing in mind of a purpose of the assessment and also outcome of the assessment. And perhaps I should be exploring more different delivery methods of the assessment. It can be pen and paper traditional, but then it can be online or portfolio, or it can be coursework or presentations. University of Nottingham has 3 campuses. I'm from the UK campus, and there's another campus in Ningbo, China, and Malaysia. All 3 campuses have similar modules, but structure of assessments are quite different. In Malaysian campus, in both semester, they have coursework. In the first semester, they have group presentation, but individual presentation in the second semester. In the first semester, the listening skills are assessed, but in the second semester, oral skills are tested. But for both semesters, they have written exam. In Ningbo and Malaysian campuses, 2 different cohorts are taught together in the same classroom. Students who have taken languages as a compulsory module will be awarded with 20 credits, and students taking languages as an optional module will be awarded with 10 credits. In Malaysian campus, both cohorts are taught together in the same room and given the same assessments. However, in Ningbo campus, they are taught together but given different type of assessment and different weighting as you can see on this table. So compulsory modules, midterm exam would be given, but not for the 10 credits module students. And for midterm exam, listening and use of languages are assessed. Then at the end of the semester, oral exam and written exams are conducted for both cohorts. So it's interesting to see that listening is actually embedded as a part of the oral exam to give a weighting for 10 grade module students. For stage 4 to 6, again, the midterm exam is conducted for 20 credit students, and the listening skill is embedded into the oral exam. And if you look at the weighting of the assessment, for 10 credit students are given more weighting in oral exam, whereas 20 credits module students are assessed all skills evenly. Before moving on to UK assessment, I would like to show you some of the examples from Malaysia and Ningbo campus assessment. This is from the Malaysia campus to test the students' listening, reading, and writing skills. So starting off with the multiple choices of the listening skills, choosing the correct word and answer to the questions in English, putting sentences in chronological order, followed by reading comprehension question, then followed by reading comprehension plus written skills to respond to the reading text. In Ningbo campus, they use the software developed by University of Nottingham called Rogo, which can be used as a summative assessment or formative assessment. In Rogo, you can do the drop-down menu to choose the correct answer or give multiple choices. You can ask students to type their own answer in the box given. You can also give immediate feedback so that you can use it as a formative assessment. If it was formative assessment, students can have a go at the same question again and again to improve their marks. Rogo can also accommodate images, so you can give a variety of different questions using images as well. You can also let students choose more than one answers and put sentences or events in a sequence of order. And you can ask a student to type their own answers as well. So it's quite powerful tools to assess students' ability online. Now moving on to the assessment structure of the UK campus. From stage 1 to stage 3, it is the same format. Semester 1, student will have the oral exam and written exam. In a written exam, it consists of reading comprehension, grammar section, and a writing composition. It lasts for 2 hours. And a semester 2, student will have a speaking exam, listening exam, and the same format of the written exam. This is the example of stage 1 oral exam. Students will be in a group of 3 and given the picture prompts to start having a conversation in a group. And student will be asked a question at the end of the conversation by the tutor. In stage 2 and stage 3, student will be given the title of the topics and randomly choose 2 topics to discuss in a group. And the student will be questioned by the tutor at the end of the discussion. This is the typical format of the written assessment from stage 1 to stage 3. It has the reading comprehension followed by number of questions. It can be true and false, or could be multiple choice, or typical question type would be answer to the question in English. Then followed by the grammar section. It can have the translation type of questions or gap fill or conjugation of verbs, etc. Then end the written assessment with the essay. So this is very traditional and I feel very outmoded. Stage 4 onwards, there are more than one skills are assessed in one assessment. So they are assessing the combined skills. If you look at stage 4, listening and reading, it can be embedded into another part of the assessment. Stage 5, there is no specific assessment for the reading, but then embed it into another assessment. And in stage 5, if you look at the darker blue, this is the one assessment, but assessing the 3 different skills. For example, listen to the news, and they debate, and they will create the reflective video. Then they write about the blog about the news. And in semester B as well, watching the news in class, then they write the summary of the news as the part of the written exam. This is the example of stage 4 assessment. Throughout the semester, students are watching news on TV, and they will keep the record of it. And eventually, tutor will choose one of the news to study further and interview in the oral assessment. This is the example of the telephone test in stage 4. Students are given a task brief in English, and they study and prepare how students can ask questions or get the information in a target language. And then student will call the native speaker and have a conversation on the telephone, and within the 10 minutes, student needs to get the information in a task brief. And after the 10 minutes, student then will write the report in English based on the information they got in a telephone conversation. Another example for the written exam in stage 5, students will be given a picture prompt and write about the topic in target language. So it is not guided as stage 1 to 3, given a bullet point what to include in the essay, but students will use their own initiative to write the essay. In stage 6, there is no separate assessment for listening and reading, but then it's all combined between speaking and writing assessment. The typical format of the assessment in the stage 6 is productive skills. So students will present in front of the audience, and audience will join in for the discussion based on the presentation later. And in the written assessment, translation skills are tested from English to target language. So it is a more practical exam compared to stage 1 to 3 exams. By comparing 3 campuses, there are different types of assessment, and focus of assessment may be different, and the length of the assessment may be different, and the questionings are different, and the skills can be combined when we are testing. Reflecting back assessment and what is happening in classroom, we need to think about the closing the gap of actual assessment and what practiced in class. But we need to bear that in mind in reality, how students will be using the target language. Students may not be writing the longer essays, and the student may be typing instead of using the pen and a paper. And in real life, students will be using the combined skills. So even in the lower stages, combined skill of assessment may be encouraged. When I looked at formats of current exams at the UK campus, I felt there were discrepancies. In class, ongoing assessments by tutors are appropriate, but at the end of semester exams, assessments may not necessarily reflect what we do in class in some stages in my institution. There are more rooms to bridge gaps with how students are assessed and what I would like students to be able to do using languages. I would like assessment to be more practical and equip students with knowledge and ability on what students may be doing in the real life.